Welcome to Ecofactors, a podcast from the Atlantic Wildlife Institute on Canada's East Coast. We sit down with people doing the real work and the communities pushing back against development that doesn't make sense for us or those we share the environment with. We are united with our guests from everywhere in honest conversations about what it actually takes to protect the earth that we call home. Hello, Renee. How are you?
Fine. How are you, Lisa?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Ecofactors today.
My pleasure.
And thank you also for all the work you've been putting into your side from CAPE to help us halt the gas plant on the Tantramar Chignecto Isthmus in New Brunswick, East Coast Canada. I think we've made a lot of progress because of all of our strength in partnerships. In looking at all of the work that you've done in the lead up to this interview, I was looking at the background of the Renee Turcotte, amazing, all of the work that you've done in kind of the elevator pitch version. Can you tell me a little bit about how you got to what was your path to get to the present moment?
Yes. When I think I was still practicing. At the end of my practice, I joined a group called Symbiose. It's a group of students at the Moncton University that works on environment. So we were a few adults, not member, not student, and we joined that group. It was called Symbiose Plus. I don't know how we formed that group and why, but at that time we did the I think we had a big impact on the environment in Moncton. And in New Brunswick, because we developed the pact for New Brunswick environment. And we had that pact a little bit like the Quebec province had their pact on the environmental pact. So we had that petition, we signed it. We had a big, huge um, protest or march in the city of Moncton in that year. And we had the city of Moncton declare the environmental emergency.
Oh.
And so it had a big effect. And it started, people started committee in their city councils. At that time, Moncton City didn't have a environmental committee, neither Dieppe City. So it's how it started. And then a year before we started the chapter, I had an email from one of my friends, physician, who asked me, the CAPE National wanted to start a chapter in New Brunswick. So I let that sit for a year. And then I answered the email and I said, I might be interested. So I reached the people in charge and we discussed this. And with a student in medicine, Marie-Véronique Godet, I think she was a second year medical student at that time. We started the chapter. And I think Dr. John Crompton, an anesthesiologist at that time, helped us too. But that's how we started in May 21.
Okay,
April or May 21, we started the chapter. So,
okay.
but before that, I was involved with the CAPE National for quite a few years. And I remember when I was practicing, they had a toolbox for health professional. So that kind of wake me up about the environmental and health.
Okay, and just for those of us or those listeners who don't know what CAPE it stands for, what does it stand for?
It's the Canadian Association of Physicians for the Environment.
Hmm.
It's a nonpartisan organization, a physician-led organization. We have about 36,000 followers, supporters across the country. And we bring an evidence-based approach to issues that intersect with health, environment, justice. And CAPE has provincial chapter
Hmm.
almost in all provinces.
And so you you were the founding president of the New Brunswick chapter.
Yeah.
Hmm. That's a big deal. So before 2021, there wasn't a chapter.
No, I don't think they had a chapter in Nova Scotia at that time either, neither in Newfoundland, Labrador. But now they have chapter. Just PEI doesn't have a chapter.
Okay. And just to give people a background, your job before retiring and starting the chapter of CAPE, which is not really retiring, just by the way, was what exactly? So palliative
Yeah.
care.
I was a family physician, so I had a practice, and I practiced in Moncton, DA. I was teaching at the family medicine unit and also teaching at the Centre de Formation Médicale. And when I stopped doing emergency room, I started to do palliative care. And so I have been the president of the Association of Hospice and Palliative Care of New Brunswick for a few years. And also during these years, I went to practice to First Nation community, the Elsipogtog First Nation community, and we started the committee on FASD, on the reserve, on the First Nation. So I did practice with First Nation people, and I liked that very much. I loved them, and my years in palliative care also were very, very fruitful, very growing time. Always I like teaching.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do something that will help the community. So still going on with that, help the community, help the people. So that's how I started to study medicine. I came to New Brunswick. It's one of my colleagues who they were starting the family medicine unit. So he asked me to come and visit, and if I can come, they were recruiting a family physician to teach at the medicine unit. And my husband was a lung specialist, so they had just 3 internal medicine specialists at that time and at the George Dumont Hospital.
Wow.
So they were very, very appreciative of my husband coming. There was no pneumologist in that hospital. There was just one at the Moncton City Hospital at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So back to CAPE New Brunswick. I think it represents more than 50 physicians and health professionals across the province who recognize that clean air, water, and land are essential to healthy lives. The committee has advocated a lot for clean and renewable energy and campaigned to uphold the provincial moratorium on fracking. Do you want to talk about your involvement with the fracking moratorium a little?
At that time, it was in 2014. I was heavy in practice, but when that was something, the use of fossil fuel, that was something we were fighting with our pack for the environmental pack in New Brunswick, the Symbiose Plus group. But when I started to CAPE and B, that was one of our main subjects, fight the fossil fuel investment and development because of the pollution it brings and all the unhealthy issue that we will talk about later. But also we joined the NADSCAP group, the New Brunswick Anti-Shale Gas Alliance. And CAPE also is, I will just divert here. We're part also of other group. We're part of the SAGA, Stop Atlantic Gas Alliance. We are also a member of the New Brunswick Environmental Network. And we work with the Conservation Council of New Brunswick, the PCIC, the Protect the Chignecto Isthmus Coalition, and Belong. So we work with different groups in the province. But fracking also, we gave, I gave a speech on the effect of health of the effect of fracking on health at the New Brunswick Medicine internal medicine update in April 2025.
All of those organizations are made up of so many people. It feels to me like the opposition is strong. I was here during the fight to get the moratorium on fracking, and I wasn't on the front lines of it, but I was following, and I was working kind of in and out like a little. I think a lot of us were. It's amazing how much people are working behind the scenes, and how much stronger we are together, and how much we don't realize that these things are in place. Our environment is protected, because of all of these people who are fighting nonstop, maybe in their offices at home or together in meetings, and all of those things that are happening right now with the Riggs project in Tantramar. Um, the fracking moratorium was made of an opposition like that, of regular people and NGOs and everybody coming together. How is that particular fight, that fight against fracking, similar to what's happening with this Riggs project right now?
It's the same fossil fuel. It's methane. They called it natural gas. It's not that natural. It's methane that is burned, and it's the same gas that they go to get from fracking. So it's the same, almost the same pollutant. Although in fracking they have more chemical that they use in the water, that they push down the pipe, the well, to get to frack the rocks and get the gas coming out. But the gas that comes out is methane, and it comes out into frack in the rocks into the pipes, and it comes out into the aquifer. It comes out into the pipe that goes into the houses, and also the flaring, like they do with the gas plant. They will do flaring too, because the gas plant will burn with methane and diesel. I don't know if I pronounce it, forget
Diesel,
my French
yeah.
accent, diesel. And so it will burn the same when they burn it, when they flare it, torch it, whatever you like to call that. It's the same polluting. Although, like I said, in fracking, they're using a lot of chemical and sand and water. But I want to just say that during the fracking fight, I was working at the Elsipogtog First Nation, and they were very dedicated of fighting that, because the group was exploring places to dwell, to make a well. So people, the First Nation people, were very dedicated, and they were afraid. And it was, I don't know if you remember, there was a big blockage on the highway, and fires, police car, I think police car, but at least some car were put into fire, and there were even arms. So woman was in front of these other people that wanted to, I think it was the police that wanted to stop the blockage. So the women and the people, the First Nation people, were very, very courageous. That's what I want to say.
Absolutely.
So to go back to fracking, it's very close, because like I said, it's the same gas, gas that, instead of coming from New Brunswick, from our fracking well, it will come from the state. So we will have to buy the gas from the states. And like you say, the gas price is very volatile, and people say that it will increase with time. So it will put all New Brunswicker into a big debt, and will be in debt towards the American.
It's
Because it's
interesting
an
you.
American company that want to develop that gas plant. So, and also, like you were talking about fracking, we're afraid that if it goes too high, the price of the fracking gas, frack gas, people will think of start again the fracking in New Brunswick. That's one of our fright, if I may say so, that the fracking moratorium will be left, and people want, because New Brunswick, we have a big, I don't know what you call that. We have a big gas underground, the Brook,
Reserve.
it's big reserve, the Brook field, big reserve. So, and it's easily exploitable. So people are afraid that it will bring us back to fracking.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up the point of they keep emphasizing natural gas, like LNG, liquid natural gas. So the atom bomb is also natural. You know, there are things that come out of the earth that are supposed to stay where they are, or stay in the formula that they've been created in.
Yeah.
um, and messing around with that can be a really dangerous thing. As we've seen, I think when the fracking fight was on, I remember watching a documentary where someone down in the States who had their house next to a fracking well turned their tap on in their kitchen and fire came out instead of
Mm-hmm.
water. I mean,
Ah,
that's some
methane.
serious
Yeah.
problems. Yeah. And methane, I
Mm-hmm.
think, is something like, I don't remember the number, but it's worse for human health than just carbon dioxide. So it's one of the most unhealthy gases we can possibly have, and this particular plant would produce a lot of that.
Methane is, as a greenhouse gas, it is 84 more potent than CO2.
Okay.
And but the methane will last longer, 25 years in the atmosphere, while CO2 will last 100 years and more. So, but it's much more potent. So
Mm.
that's why if we can fight the methane, at least we help to diminish the greenhouse gases.
Mhm.
The the blanket that cover our heart and that keep our heart heating, our planet heating and heating, because the heat cannot escape because of that blanket caused by these gases, CO2, methane, and there is other nitrous oxide, oxide nitrous, and others.
Mhm. And could you walk us through what some of the health effects of this air pollution of methane or CO2, uh, coupled with the greenhouse effect, might be for things like asthma, COPD, people who have these things already, or would they cause, like, I don't have asthma or COPD. Am I going to get that if I live close to the plant? I
Uh, it's very irritating for the pulmonary tree, for the lungs. So if you will, at least you will have irritation. Yes, you might develop asthma, but people with asthma, their asthma will increase,
Mm.
and that means they will have to use more puffer. And the puffer also, if you use the I don't remember what we call that, but if you don't use the powder, but you use the other one, it's also polluting. It's like 100 puff. It's like 270 kilometers of traveling by car powered by gas. So, and it's not the main problem is that you get sicker. You have to use your medication more, and it's very expensive. It's about 125, something like that, a
Mm.
puffer, and you might need to go to see the doctor, so it's another cost. You might need to, we see that people go to emergency room more often. They might need to be hospitalized, especially the one that are more severely sick, because the older people and people with previous condition like pulmonary condition, cardiovascular condition, they get sicker with these pollutants, and young children, and also pregnant women are affected. But to come back to the pulmonary effect, yeah, it's very irritating, and also it increase asthma, it increase COPD, it increase infection because it makes you more susceptible to infection because of the irritation of your lung tree, and also because some pollutant will diminish your immunological system, so you're more prone to get infected. So that's the main concern with the lung, but it affects the heart also,
Mhm.
cardiovascular, because some of these pollutants, we call them small particulate matters. They goes into our lungs, then they go through our lung barrier, they goes into our blood system, they goes into our organ like brain, kidney, liver. They even cross the placenta. They goes to the fetuses and cause damages to our lung, to our brain, goes into our brain. So it's very, very unhealthy, um, unhealthy stuff.
Mhm. You did a talk once, I think, on speaking about your concerns for pregnant women in New Brunswick. Um, Specifically, what could go wrong with the fetus and the child, or childhood through these kind of pollutants.
They did a study. They did many studies about the people living close to fracking. I'll tell the study the fracking because it's kind of the close to the same polluting, except the chemicals that are used there. Um, and many studies were concerning pregnant women. So they found they had more premature births, and they had more births with malformation, like spina bifida, some limb malformation, heart malformation, and they had the babies were affected. The babies from the pregnant woman were affected, and it's having a premature baby. It's very, very difficult for the family. It's very difficult for the woman. Imagine your baby is supposed to be born at 36, 40 weeks and is born at 20, 21, 25 weeks. And if it's all normal, but it's still a big burden because you have to stay in the hospital. You cannot take your baby like if he was a baby born at term, and so it's very costly emotionally and even physically and even monetary, economically, to have a preterm baby. Some people did research on the cost of a preterm baby in Canada, and it maybe just one day in intensive care. It's about 1,700, 900. I don't have the exact number, but it's around that cost. And the mean stay of baby in Canada was I think it was in 2021, the study was about 40 days. And imagine each day cost close to $2,000. And the study was done in 2021, yes. So infant living more than 3 days, the median cost in Canada in hospital was $91,137. So just to stay in the hospital for a preterm baby.
Wow.
And imagine after that, it doesn't include the cost for the parents, the emotional cost. And after that, when your baby, you need physiotherapy, ergotherapy. You might need to go to IWK because your baby has malformation. Imagine all the costs that are included. So living close to fracking cause damages to fetuses, and also it has been proven that the gas plant also will cause damages to fetuses.
And so, yeah, I mean, I know that they're right across the road from where they're building, or where they built the access road already, even though they don't have the environmental impact assessment finished. There is a family, multi-generational family with a young child, and she was going to build a house directly to where they put the road, and they were not consulted. She has, I think when I met her, her baby was like 6 months old. She was going to build a house and raise her family there, and that's no longer an option. Not to mention that I don't think there's a resale value on their house, even though it's a beautiful location. It's up on the hill overlooking like a valley of Tantramar, and they have horses and an equestrian school, and that makes me angry, actually. I mean, I'm not the one who lives there. I live pretty close, and I don't want to have any of these effects in my air. New Brunswick, I mean, when I asked you at the beginning, why'd you come to New Brunswick? I think a lot of the reasons we come here are for the same reasons that the tourism New Brunswick touts. Like, it's such a beautiful natural place, like what drew you to New Brunswick?
Like you said, it's a natural place. It's beautiful. But I didn't know much about New Brunswick when I came in anyway, frankly. I know it was close to the sea, so that was something that attracted me, being close to the sea, because I like the water. I like swimming. And also my colleague that attracted me here. I knew a few of my colleagues, so I wanted to appreciate them. So I wanted to work with them. So that was the main thing, the people and the nature in New Brunswick, because that was a big move coming from Quebec province, l'Île d'Orléans, and Montreal. But living in a small city, that was something that was smaller. It's not a small city, but smaller than Montreal and less polluted. It was something that attracted us.
Yeah.
But to go back to that poor woman that lived close, And yeah, the closer you live to a gas plant or a fracking well, the worse you are impacted. And the baby, like you were talking, she had a 6-month-old baby. The baby, they're more impacted than a regular adult, not sick adult like you or me. I'm starting to get older, so I'm starting to be more at risk also. But the baby is because their organs are still developing, so and fast developing, so they're more affected by these all these toxic compounds.
Mm.
So, and you know what? I went to a meeting with NB Power and Core Energy, and people were, that's something that made people afraid, lacking water, because, you know, they had in this area, there were some well were dry, and that plant is going to use a lot of water. Imagine every day, a big cube, a big square, 60 feet by 60 by 60. It's like three big Olympic swimming pools. So they said that, okay, don't worry, we'll bring you a water bottle.
Mm.
Imagine you said she
Yeah.
has horses. Imagine having to. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure
That's really crazy. That
graduates
it
hand
shows the
delivering.
consideration they have for the people living there.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think those people are being considered at all, in fact, and I feel like it should be illegal to do that. That's not okay. You can't kind of kill off like 15 households
No.
for the sake of anyway, fossil fuel burning plant that we've already proven is not necessary. But so my point in kind of saying that is like the identity of New Brunswick, this whole like NB tourism thing, whom I'd love to have a conversation with, to, you know, because that's our main thing. Like, come to New Brunswick. Like, everyone comes from Quebec and they come from down in the States, come to New Brunswick because of our nature, the Fundy Rocks, the beautiful beaches. I live at Parley Beach, you know, so we have our own set of problems here. But why aren't they listening? Why isn't that? Why does the New Brunswick government seem so two faced in that they say one thing, what's really important to them, priority is our nature and our people and this net zero 2035. But actually, your actions speak louder than your words, because right now, like, you're not listening to us and you're not prioritizing what it seems like you say you want to, or why. And how frustrating is that? You've worked in this for quite a long time now. Like,
Mm.
what's the deal?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, and it seems that I don't know. They don't seem to make the connection between the fossil fuel and the health effect. They might not know even if we scream. I don't know if we don't scream loud enough. So maybe the screaming should come from every corner of New Brunswick. It's not just people living to that gas plant that will be affected, because, like we said, it burns methane, and it's a potent greenhouse gas, and that increase climate change effect, that increase the heating of our planet, and everybody is affected by that. We've seen up north, they have they're losing their land, their property, because of the erosion of the sea. And we have bigger storms. We have heat. We don't know how many people are affected by the heat, but it's not just dying because of the heat dome, like we saw in BC in 2000. I don't know if you remember in 2020, they had a big heat dome that lasted for a few days, and 619 people died from the heat dome. So we don't know how much people die each time we have a heat effect in New Brunswick, but people are affected. Older
Mhm.
people living, working outside, not just the older people and the babies, but people working outside are affected. So just to go back to the government, they don't seem to make the relation between burning fossil fuel and the health impact on the people and the planet. And like the WHO said, the combustion of the burning of fossil fuel is killing us. Not just because it heat the planet, but also because, like we talk about the pollution.
Have you seen any successes? Like, how do we get them to listen?
I think they're more sensitized, than maybe before, but we still have to knock at their door. We still have to continue to talk to them. And some minister or MLA said it's better to talk to MLAs because they can do something. They can stand up and said, the population of my riding is worrying, is against or something. So they can talk to the others, so they can shake up, I think, the walls of the government regarding the use and burning of fossil fuels. So if many people rise up, talk to their MLAs, write into the newspapers, write into the medias against if they oppose these gas plant and this fracking like they did before, I'm pretty sure it will do something.
How about the people? Do you feel like there's a knowledge gap between those who are active and those who are not? Or do you think it's a case of empowerment versus disempowerment? Like that people don't speak up because they're scared? I mean, it's a very political issue and not everybody wants to talk about it. It's one of the most frustrating parts of my job is like, how do we get them all to, I know they care. If they're having coffee with me, they tell me their feelings, but then when they go out into the world, it's kind of a scary place. Like online is a scary place, and the government is working with the big oil industry, and that's scary. And like, how do we get our voice heard?
For sure, we have to continue to educate the public. Many people don't know the relation. Many people don't read newspaper and don't listen to TV, don't listen to news on TV. They are on media, social medias, and many people are not on social medias either. So doing also a public meeting will help to inform and educate people that are not following these media. And the more we try, it's not trying to convince them. It's more telling them the fact, educating them, and then they will move towards towards fighting the burning of fossil fuel. And the more we are fighting these big companies, the better it will be for our health and our planet. Many people don't have time either to go on the media. So the more we try to use many means of educating the public. So I think also, like I said, public meetings are important. Council, educating our council, our municipality council, that's very important because they can do something. They can work on the government, and they can work on their citizens to educate them also.
I know there's another information session coming up in the neighborhood of where the plant is proposed for. I remember when we did one when it was first, like it was like September, October, when we just had started to work on the coalition and forming the coalition, and there were some people who live really close to the proposed location who had not heard about it, which proves that there was no community consultation, no real community consultation done. In fact, it was tokenistic consultation, which is just going in and saying like, hey, by the way, we've already made these decisions and here's what it looks like and good luck. And yeah, we're listening, but no media, and we are out of time. Look at that. So
Yeah.
they have another community information session coming up. I'm interested to hear to learn how much the local people know, because it's a rural area. And like you said, not everybody is on TV and social media and computers and all of and there's just a lot going on. Like the world is a complicated place. But CAPE is made up of physicians, and the government is not. So isn't it their job to listen to the professionals, the health professionals? Like, it's shocking to me that you would have this giant group of really highly educated, knowledgeable, wise doctors, and still you can't get the word across.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, especially when they told us, like John Donnan told me that he is a very very worried about the environment, and he has an environment at heart. Same thing with Susan Hall. She always tells us that she has the environment at heart. So, but it doesn't show into their action. I think like you said, the fossil fuel lobby is very, very strong. So, and we're just a small group. So the more we are, and the more we knock at the door to see again that figure to the government, the better they will hear the message. So because we have to fight big $1 billion industry. So it's all across all the countries, different countries. So
that's right. Yeah,
the power is in the people. The power is in the voters.
Yeah. And actually, with Stephen Guilbeault last night, the kind of former minister of environment and climate change who stepped down because the platform changed after the vote went through. So they built a platform with the Carney government, and then said they were going to do well. The thing that he actually said last night was that they were promising to remove the subsidy for new fossil fuel development. And then the vote went through. Everyone was like, yay, we have a environmentally prioritized federal government. And then 2 weeks later, Stephen said that he saw on the desk an MOU, or memorandum of understanding, between the Carney government and Alberta, where they're fracking, obviously, to make sure that the subsidy remained in place. And that's when Stephen Guilbeault was like, I quit. Because it's not cool, is what he said, quote unquote. It's not cool. And, Stephen Guilbeault is cool. The last thing that he said, which I felt seen, which I thought was really important and empowering for people like us who are kind of fighting for the voice of the people, is that he said the thing that gives him hope, in having worked in this field and having seen kind of like the dark side a lot, the thing that gives him hope is the people who are not waiting for the government, that they are taking civic action and voicing their concerns and spending time and energy on the world that they want to see, that they think and know is possible if enough of us rise up. And then I was like, thank you for seeing us, because sometimes we're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? So I appreciated that voice from the inside of government, but just honesty. And I think that people would vote again for Premier Holt. She has a chance right now to be an honest politician, to be communicative with us. But right now it seems like she's saying one thing and doing another. And that's exactly why Stephen quit. But like you said, it's happening in countries all around the world. Like New York has a fracking ban. There's much greener countries. Some of them are completely net zero already, and we're kind of reversing the dial on bringing the dinosaurs back. What gives you hope?
Oh, well, people like you. People like you who are fighting, and people that comes to meetings, and people that write into the newspaper. When I see people from up north and from different organizations writing against fossil fuel development, against the gas plant, that gives me hope. And when I see people coming at the meeting, getting informed, and how the fight, when we are together, we're stronger. So that gives me hope. It gives me hope also that, people, I hope we won't have too much disaster to make government change their approach regarding fossil fuel. I hope next summer won't be a disaster. But I don't pray for disaster to make them change, but I hope it won't happen. And I hope people will take action before that. Yeah. What gives me hope also, it's the like I was listening to the AUB hearing and seeing all the people fighting against that gas plant. That gives me hope. That gives me hope that the board, the AUB board, the board will see the reality of that project that is very unhealthy and economically unhealthy also.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, like Jim Hamburger told you, he said that the board chair, maybe, I think, said that, have you thought about climate change or something like that? So that gives me hope that the board is thinking, at least some big leader are thinking about climate change.
Makes me think that maybe he has children and grandchildren, because it wasn't part of the platform. When he said it, we were all
Oh,
like, you know,
yeah,
like, wow, somebody's talking about real things that are not
yeah.
just money and resource capacity.
Yeah, we thought we were not supposed to talk about that. We thought, so
Mhm.
that's why our interveners didn't talk about that. They
That's
thought
right.
they were supposed to talk just about money. But if they had known, they will have talked a lot about the climate change and the fossil fuel plans.
Yeah, and another thing that comes up continuously is that if you want to talk about money and bring it back into money terms, maybe it's a little more expensive to build the renewable energy grid and put batteries and change the location, because the site location right now is ridiculous. It's a very extensive system of wetlands, and that's a really important sink for carbon, a really important protector against flooding and fires, wildfires, which are increasing in the
Mhm.
area. But if you have to spend a little more to move it and to choose a more expensive option, it still pales completely in comparison to the costs of climate change. Like you said, 619 people died in a heat dome. What's the cost of that to the families? And what's the
Mhm.
value of life versus the monetary value? Like, cost is an interesting one, but they don't have those numbers on their side, and we do.
Mhm.
We always say this
Mhm.
project is bad math, bad science, and bad governance. And all of those things are apparent within like all of the things that you've said. I have a question for you. So, having worked with the Elsipogtog community and the Mi'kmaq Indigenous people, was
Mhm.
there anything that you learned during that time, during that work experience, that is a wisdom that could be applied to the coming out on the good side, the sunny side of this particular fight?
Well, you're talking about fight. I've learned they're fighters
Mhm.
and they're proud people. And if we help them, we give them the mean, they can do wondrous things. And they're rising up. And so I kept a very positive emotion working with them. And if some have big difficulties, it's because of the way they were treated by the colonizers and they're still treated by many of us. So it's unbelievable how resilient they are and how they care also for the planet, for what Mother Earth. And so they teach us that it's important to protect Mother Earth for many generations to come. So that's why that gives us hope also. That's why we have to fight. We have to think of the future generation. And like you said, they have children, they have grandchildren. Talking about the leaders, people are already affected by climate changes. People are already affected by the effect of burning fossil fuel. 15,000 people die each year in Canada because of air pollution. So people are already affected
Mm.
by that.
That's right. It's not about the
Like
future, it's about now, in
now
fact.
and make sure the future don't get worse and worse and worse. And that's why it's important to act now because, like I said, the effect of CO2 is 100 years. So we have to stop accumulating it, sending it into the atmosphere, and stop also the methane to be sent into the atmosphere to increase the heat of the planet, the heating of the planet, and all the change that it brings to the planet and how the change it affect all the way it affect humans and all nature.
Hmm. Thank you for that. To bring it back to you, just because it's been lovely spending time with you, and I would personally like to know, what are you reading right now?
Oh, what am I reading? Now I'm reading mainly stuff from the AUB and newspaper and medical article on the pollution, the effect of SO2, sulfur dioxide on SLA, the relation with the ALS, the Lou Gehrig disease and the pollution by SO2. We had a searcher, PhD, who did research for his thesis about the relation in New Brunswick, and he found that there is a relation between the increased number of ALS in New Brunswick compared to other places and SO2 pollution and the air pollution. And it's even if the level is lower than the normality, the so-called normality level, even if it's lower, it affects people. So I'm reading more scientific stuff, but I'd like to read I had a book called Learning to Fall, The Blessing of an Imperfect Life by Philip Simmons, who was affected by ALS. So I would like to read it again before sending it to the researcher, Danielle Saucier. And also I read the opinion article of Jean Bourgeois in the newspaper in l'Acadie Nouvelle. So it talked about bird songs. So it reminded me of a book called Silent Spring, written. So I've never read that book, so I want to read it. So that's and in between, when I'm tired of reading, sometimes I read some thriller. Or when I just want to relax, I go back to the Lord of the Rings.
Nice. Yeah, I always go back to sci-fi. Like, pretend I'm not on Earth. If you could interview anyone in the world right now,
Oh,
who would you interview and what would you ask them?
one in the world, that's a big question. There is so many people that we need to
I just recently saw this morning that it's David Suzuki's 90th birthday on May 22nd, I think, and he's having a big party out in Vancouver. I wish I could go, but I can't
Oh,
because
yeah.
we have to but yeah, that's somebody that I would love to speak with. I know
Yeah.
he's in high demand on podcasts, so I'm probably not going to get him, but
Maybe Vladimir. I was thinking about him, the president of the Ukraine president, because I would like to know. He's in war now, and they have to defend their country. But what about the environment? How does he see that the environment, the planet, and the war? I know he would like to stop the war to protect the planet, but how does he feel about that? Maybe that will be something interesting too. I'm pretty sure his heart must be torn.
Renee, I really appreciate your time and energy in today's interview, but also in the fight against the gas plant. I hope that all of our efforts are eventually heard, that the government and other institutions will listen to the over 50 physicians that are represented by CAPE New Brunswick, and it's a national organization, so they're all on board with this is a bad idea. If we're not listening to you, I don't know who we're listening to. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, just to say again, we need to break away from this technology, unhealthy technology that have harmed us for so many years and will continue if we still go on with that. Yeah. There is other option.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. On that note,
Very much, Lisa.
thank you, Renee.
Bye.
Bye.